Today we're tying a pheasant tail nymph. We're starting off with a Hannock 230. It's a size 12, barbless hook. I like these hooks. They have a very sharp point. It's a needle point on there. Just have to be careful to check your hooks often because they do bend easily. We have a 7/64 copper bead on, and this is a brass bead. I don't find that I need heavier tungsten beads on these patterns, and I just store them in this container like this so I can easily transport them around. And we're starting off with a brown thread, a uni 8/0, and it's camel, but you can't really tell that because it's an older thread. So we're going to wrap our thread on, lock that in place, cut that off, extra off tag end, and again we're just going to build up a base of thread on the shank of the hook, and this just will allow everything that we tie on top of it to stay in place. Bring that thread back so it's just a little ways back from the bead. We're going to use pheasant tail, and I'm going to take about 6 to 8 strands of the pheasant tail off and just rip that right off. You want to have that sort of pointing down. We want the tail to be the same size as the shank of our hook, about the same size. So just we'll put that down and open wrap on top. See if we can lock that in place. Just adjust. Perfect. Looks pretty good. And wrap our thread back now, just to hold these fibers in place. We're going to cut off this piece here. We don't need that right now. It's waste. I'm just going to bring this forward again. Open turns forward. We're going to take a piece of copper wire, and I'm using small copper wire today. I have a piece already prepared here. Just going to start that inside the bead of the hook, and then as I wrap this, just kind of wrap it around to the side of the hook so that when I start my turns on that one later, it'll be a nice equal turn. Again, we're going to go back to our pheasant tail. Again, 6 or 8 pieces. Just tear that off the side, and this time we're going to tie in our tips of the pheasant tail, and you see how that's arching up this time. So we can just do an open turn of thread, and then we can pull those tips until, one just snuck out there, and that's okay. We have enough on there. You could cut those off or just bury them. It doesn't really matter right now. What we're going to do is, you could use hackle pliers to hold on to this. I'm just going to use my fingers, and we're going to wrap this forward. You see I lost another one, no problem. Be careful not to touch the tip of that hook. They will break your fibers, the pheasant tail fibers there. Okay, so we built that body up. A few turns forward. We're going to just tie off our material here, lock it in place. Sorry, not tie it off, lock it in place, cut the extra off. We're going to take our wire, and pheasant tail is really weak. So we wrapped up and away. This time I'm going to wrap the wire, counter wrap it so it's up towards me and under. And this is going to reinforce the fiber so you don't break apart as easy when the fish are biting it. And the copper wire kind of adds a little bit of flash to the pattern. Okay, a couple wraps there, a couple wraps there. Now we're going to helicopter this off. So you take your fingernail, pinch it there, and then just helicopter the wire and pull, and it'll break off like that. At this point we're going to do some dubbing. Well, you know what, we're going to dub this pattern with diamond dub, and it's in a golden brown color. I really like this color. It works well for me. And again, this one I keep in a container like this, and what I've done is drilled holes in the bottom of the container so I can easily pull out the material, and you can see what I'm using easily too. So yeah, we're using the diamond dub copper today, and so I can just take a toothpick and get some of that out of there. This pattern we're going to tie in some legs as well, and you don't have to though, so I'm going to show you a few things here that we're going to do. So I'm just going to pull out some of this dubbing. Okay, just get your fingers a little wet, and you don't need a lot of dubbing to make this work. So I just make a little rope, twist it on. I usually like to do one wrap. Again, just wet the fingers and twist it into a tighter rope. And this is just giving it just a little bit of color. So I'm going to say that's enough right there. We'll pull off any extra there, add it back to my pile of dubbings for my next fly. And this point here, I'm just going to tie a knot. Now, right here, we could leave the pattern and be finished with it. This will fish very well. Very simple. We have pheasant tail for the tail, pheasant tail body with a wire rib forward, and then that copper dubbing. What you could do is take a little piece of Velcro or your dubbing brush and just pull these fibers down from the dubbing, and it'll just open it up a bit and give the appearance of legs of your pattern. I do that often. Today what we're going to do is just take some more pheasant tail. So we're going to come back here and take 6 to 8 strands of that. Again, you don't have to be really precise. So this one we're going to try and make some legs here. So we're going to tie this in facing forward here. And I don't want the legs to be huge, so I'm going to lock those in place. Let's pull those forward just a bit. And you're going to think, well, why are these facing forward? These are going to be the legs. The legs don't face forward. Excuse me. So we're going to cut this off. We're going to take our pheasant tail fibers and pull those down, kind of split them, and then wrap our thread on top. And you'll see right there that they did go to the side or underneath the pattern. Okay, just kind of get them in the right spot. Looks pretty good. Again, I don't think the fish are inspecting these that closely, so we just want to give a little bit of movement to the pattern with those legs so it looks more like the real animal insect in the water. A couple wraps there, tie that off with our whip finish. I'm going to cut that material. And here on most of my patterns, again, I don't use head cement, but as you're learning, head cement's nice to use. So we're going to take clean those fibers away there, something in there. Take a toothpick with a little bit of head cement on there. And that's finished. So I'm just going to put the cap back on. And that's a pheasant tail right there. You can see there's something sticking up there, so I'm going to take that little fluff on there. Okay. Thanks for watching.